What's up, guys? BARRYGAMING here, back with some more Infinite Magicraid, and today I kind of wanted to talk about that transition from like a really early game account, what you're focusing on, to more of the middle game, the mid game, because you'll be pushing through a lot of content, but you'll come across a lot of game modes where the hero you went for at first might not actually be getting the job done, and that's going to be the main topic here, is going for these AoE damage dealers versus single target damage dealers, and when the transition kind of happens of you need to stop paying attention to those AoE damage dealers because there's so many bosses in this game. You're gonna not have enough DPS potentially to burst them down before they ramp their damage up. You might not be able to break through their shields. There's a bunch of different types of bosses, so let's talk about that today. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's get going. So I think one thing everybody can agree on, there's certain heroes that are just really strong in the early game. One of them, of course, probably the most talked about hero we talk about all the time, Holder. Absolutely amazing AoE damage, hitting everybody, putting bleeds on them, having a counterattack type attack, which is still pretty solid for single target, but being that his main damage ability is layers of all damage to like all enemies, it can be really good for number one, leeching and getting enough health when you don't have support heroes to back you up. It'll help you through campaign, it'll help you through a lot of places, but you will notice there are places where you start hitting a wall when you only have AoE damage dealers. I mean, we can talk about a couple other really popular ones, Hardak as well as Lester. Like, they're all very strong AoE damage dealers. Some of them a little bit better at single target than others not so great. But one big comparison I want to do is I want to talk about what heroes you should be saving. In the very early game, when you just start out, you definitely want those really strong AoE damage dealers, because heroes like Holder are going to do some amazing things, especially when we're talking about the world map. The campaign is one of the most important things to finish out, and so are the stars, because these stars are going to increase your auto battle, your idle battle loot, and as you go up and get more and more stars, you have a better chance to get even epic heroes like down here, elite heroes, all these fun things, more resources at your disposal. You will, however, come across opportunities where the enemies start really punishing you if you're not able to take them down fast enough. A couple places that we can talk about there are the different Dwarven Ruins bosses. It just depends on what you are wanting to farm and everything. We have Marius up as an event right now this week, which is pretty cool. You'll also notice it in Towers of Mark, Red Mark, Force Mark, all these. You'll start coming across monsters and enemies that are very difficult if you only have AoE damage. And the one cool thing they kind of show you is what heroes do the best against it here too. But heroes that become immune to debuffs when they have their shield and everything, or when they use safety device, Thar's a very difficult one to actually get past as an account that you don't have very good single target damage on. And not saying you get rid of your AoE damage dealer, but you definitely want to have single target damage dealers as your second and maybe even third build on your account. I think a lot of people go for someone like a Holder. They get a Whim, they get a Liz or a Maya on their account. They have a solid healing and damage support. But then you need to focus on single target. And I think the best example of where the transition happens is Holder. Again, probably one of the best epic heroes you can have very early game. But you'll notice as time goes on, especially for free-to-play players, there'll be other heroes that actually start performing better than him. One of them being Reeves. We've talked about Reeves especially having that really good synergy with Holder, but he is a very awesome single target damage dealer. Again, applies bleed, 2 stages of damage against the target. Supposedly there are some buffs coming for dots as well, so these heroes might become even stronger. Giving counterattack, again, that's something Holder also has. Very good for single target as well, because you just get additional hits in. It feels pretty good. And then, yeah, you have a bunch of things in this hero that are all single target oriented. There's none that are AoE, so of course they're not going to do as great in certain places, but they'll do very good in others. The other thing I would say is when you have events coming up like the one we have coming up later this week, I believe, I don't know if you can actually go in and look at any of these here of what heroes are going to be ranked, but the upcoming wishing event that we have that has the bonus legend coming too is going to be an AoE one. So it has heroes like Little Jack coming in, which I'm not very impressed with Little Jack, at least at my first glance on him. He's an AoE damage dealer. He's solid. Big AoE burst, but not even that great. He doesn't really support his team. He doesn't really have debuffs. He doesn't have anything like that. There are a couple other heroes that are pretty solid in this lineup coming up for the wish, but I would probably just go to the point of getting the guaranteed one and then keep saving up. In the past, we've had a couple really good heroes come out. We've had Megan come out. We had a Maeve up event as well, which again, these are very, very, very good single target damage dealing heroes. And one thing I would also try to try to build on your account is building a team around the hero you choose in order to get even more progression in the Tower of Mark. Of course, getting stars all the way across is going to be important. You're not only getting Catherine copies, but when you do get down to 30, you're getting a decent amount of mythic shards, which is absolutely huge. But making sure you're building a team for the mark that you're trying to progress in, I think is one of the best ways to go. Because again, the further down you can get here, the more progression you're getting on your account on a daily basis by the runes that you can farm. The further down in a tower you can get, of course, the more runes you farm. So that's just going to increase the power of your account and make farming things much easier. You're going to have your marks, your mark talents leveled up pretty high. I don't use any blue. I've used some green. I've gotten everything to 10 of 10 at least on a lot of these. Blue mark, man, that's actually one faction I have not really done anything in, but you'll notice on my account I literally have one blue mark hero. Everything else is red mark or force mark. I'm trying to focus on that way our team is as strong as possible. So let me know what your strategy is, but I do recommend that eventually you're going to want to try to transition, or not away from your AoE damage dealer, but making sure you don't build too many AoE damage dealers. Having one or two, especially in each of the marks, is a really good idea, especially for those first two waves. And of course, taking out certain heroes like, the Shia and stuff, and then the Yoko can be very annoying on the stealth boss. I forget his name off the top of my head, but you do need some AoE, but you most definitely need to focus on single target damage as well. Because if you don't have single target damage, you're gonna start suffering against any type of boss. And then on top of that, the guild boss, you really want single target damage, because that's gonna be our next video today, talking about the guild boss and talking about how to optimally fight against it. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I think we're up to almost 16,000 subscribers now, so thank you so much for all the support. I'll see you guys next time.